All right. Now it might take a few moments for people to start joining, because now they have to click a join button.
Because they're like in the lobby waiting.
Yeah. They have to wait for the join button, and then they have to click the join button. Let me make a thing in Discord.
This is being recorded. Got it.
All right. We're moving.
We're a few people short here. I guess they'll be showing up soon. I hope so.
That's good.
Fernando, I'm hitting the start button on you.
We can do pre-show banner. So John, after this, you up for some lunch or brunch? Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Because I haven't eaten yet. I'm getting hangry.
Oh, too late for that stuff here. It's 5 p.m.
Oh wow, it's time for dinner. See, so yeah, Klaus, you know what the problem is with this shirt?
No.
If you wear brown pants, you look like you're in Scooby-Doo. Like, what was that guy? Shaggy. Yeah. I feel like Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. I've even had small children point at me and laugh, and that's a bit disconcerting.
So. Yeah, well, I never wear brown pants, so I haven't had that problem.
There you go. See, you know.
Yeah, well, that is mostly because my wife says that brown is not a color for me, so that's what I adhere to.
I'm not going to argue with your wife on that. That's she's probably 100% correct that brown is not your color. So
exactly. Yeah. That's how.
Even if it is, it's not. You know. So, but
yeah, well, actually, I thought you were going to talk about man tits when you said the big problem with the t-shirt, but that's probably just me.
Oh, jeez. Well, that got awkward. No. There's a way to like flip the camera so it says hacker properly. Yours says Reka. Does it say hacker for you all or Reka?
Reka.
Yeah, something is being mirrored. I think I can't change that setting. I think maybe I can.
So there we go. So now it should say hacker.
Yeah.
Zoom has a mirrored camera option.
It's a Zoom setting. Yeah, it's on the camera feed. It's
yeah. So it should say hacker now,
yeah,
right?
Hang on a second. Yeah, I'll change it. Where's that? Oh, that's probably in the video settings.
Yeah, you go video settings, and then you can do a mirror.
Yeah, I never understood why mirror is always default.
Yeah, no idea.
Actually, it's not checked, but I'll check it and then maybe it will mirror it right. Yeah, it works now because now it's mirrored and sorry. Oh, what the hell? I don't understand.
Maybe it's just mirroring you for you.
Yeah, well, it actually does look fine now. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. But just think about it. You know, when I see you, I really see you upside down, but my brain knows better. It picks you up and turns you around. So
I like my John.
Never pass up an opportunity to quote Death Cab for Cutie. So
yeah.
So now it should say hacker. I hope, maybe
no.
Zoom's not picking up, right? Yeah. I've tried turning it off and on again, and it's still, if it stays Reka, that's fine. Just so now people know what Reka means, because we've talked
exactly
about it in a non-direct sort of way.
Well, if not, they know the first time they look in the mirror with the t-shirt on.
There you go. And I've actually had some people surprised, like they get the shirt and they don't know what it means, and then the first time they look in a mirror, they're like, "Holy crap, I get it!" You know, like it's weird to buy a shirt, not understand what it means. But all right.
Yeah. I'll just be offline a sec. Hang on a sec.
Sounds good.
Okay. And it looks like our live translation is enabled. But Fernando, you are muted right now. Just FYI. Okay, perfect. He's not muted anymore. I would just say something, Fernando, to the Spanish-speaking audience that we're doing a little pre-show banter, and that we're going to get started in a minute or two.
So let's practice our translation, Fernando, which we should have done before we got here. For those of you that are joining, I'm going to have pauses, by the way. And that's so Fernando, for the Spanish-speaking attendees, can translate. So somebody pointed out my Howard the Duck poster and my Empire Strikes Back posters in the chat. John knows this, but I am a huge fan of Polish movie posters. The reason why I'm a fan of Polish movie posters is they have to be done by Polish art students that are currently in university. Sometimes the students don't get a good representation of what that movie is, and they just have to make the posters up on their own. And that's where you get Howard the Duck dressed like a Time Lord. If you go online and just Google Polish movie posters, there's a bunch of them for sale. And I collect science fiction ones. I currently have about 6 that need to be framed.
And I will add to this, a really fun exercise to do is to go to Google Translate and type in the name of the language and movie poster, and then search in the other language for their movie posters. You can find some amazing Japanese movie posters. You know, Poland obviously has so many good ones, but there are a lot of countries around the world that make their own movie posters, even outside of Poland. And a lot of them are done by artists from that area. It's quite impressive to see. So fun exercise.
Another fun fact, one of my favorite science fiction authors is also from Poland, Stanisław Lem. Amazing author of Solaris, the Siberiad. Check out his books, his Master's Voice. Klaus, are we ready on your side?
Yeah, now I'm unmuted. Yeah, a couple of minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
John, someone mentioned that you can get them in Warsaw in the city center. I don't think that there was anybody that was selling these posters in Krakow when I was out there with you. I didn't see any place. If you find some place, you have to let me know.
I haven't found a place yet. I've definitely asked a few places, but I haven't found. I have to find out about this place in Warsaw, though. I wasn't aware that there was a place that sold them there. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's the only thing that I can order from overseas that gets here in less than a week are movie posters in a tube. All right, Fernando, for translation, how is our pacing? Is that okay?
I don't think he can talk to us anymore now that he's doing
But
translation.
he can type in chat. If you want to type it into
up.
webinar chat, let us know.
Thumbs up from the audience, so I think that's a good sign.
Fernando's already smoking. He didn't smoke before, but he does now. Just like, why did I agree to this, Mr. Bevers? Why? You should all be able to see my screen. Can I get a thumbs up in Zoom if you can see my screen?
Yeah. John,
Yeah.
John Bevers, you're not very loud. So you should probably be turned up.
I just move it closer, I guess.
You are not screen sharing, John.
Okay.
Do I sound better now, Klaus?
I'll ask the audience, can you hear him? A little better.
Fernando is telling me that your pacing is fine.
Okay,
Excellent.
fantastic.
And we can see your screen.
All right. I'm ready when you are, Klaus.
Yeah, hang on a second.
No worries.
All right, I'm going to go off camera.
Apparently we're ready to go now.
All right.
So that's cool. Well, maybe I should share my screen as well, so everybody can see.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Where the hell? Share screen. Will stop. Oh yeah, this will stop John's sharing.
Yeah, we got to keep my screen up.
What? Whoa, wow, four. Huh. Okay, portion screen. Oh well, I don't know.
Because yeah, you just want to see my screen is all.
Well, I wanted to share my own screen, but I don't know if.
Oh, to get started. Okay, got it. All
Yeah,
right.
but I can only share like part of the screen and not the entire screen. I don't know how this stuff works. I'm not that proficient with Zoom, unfortunately.
All right. So whenever you do that, you go share screen. And then it's going to open up a series of options. You can either share your entire desktop or you can share your specific app that you wish to share. It should give you.
That was the plan, but it doesn't give me. Hang on a second. Now it's a bit screwed up.
Okay.
Under basic,
I see your screen. I've got it. Cybers with Europe. Oh, but it's,
but
cutting off.
That is
cutting
only
off part of the screen. Yeah.
Only part of my screen. Yeah.
All right.
So
it just disappeared even more. Can you drag that screen back a little bit wider? There we go. Just go with this. It's fine. Let's go ahead and get rolling.
Yeah, for you, but hang on a second. I need to make it bigger. Yeah, sorry for not being very good with Zoom, but hang on a second. Oh, the fuck is it? Oh, sorry. Oh,
it looks like you're trying to zoom inside of Zoom. There we. I don't know.
See it all now.
It's just very low frame rate.
Can you see most of my screen now?
Nope, everything went black.
Jesus Christ. Oh man.
Do you have a slide? Do you want to shoot me the slide and I can share it? You can just email it to me.
Hang on. I was here. Well, hang on a second.
We can see it all.
So you can see it all now.
We could for a second.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Man. Oh, man. So I'll just stop the share and then maybe start the share again.
Okay.
Under the probably under basic, I can only choose whiteboard.
At this point, if you just want to talk to your slides, and if you want to share them with me, I'll do it. It's probably more important that we move on and try to stay punctual. Try to get a perfect share because that didn't help either.
Yeah, we're almost 15 minutes behind, Klaus.
Yep.
I would just say to
sorry.
Just kick it.
Just go ahead and just talk to your slides. And if you want to email them to me later, we can get them to the attendees.
Yeah, of course. I'll just show them to people here.
Okay.
Shit. If that worked.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Okay, this is absolutely. Oh, there they are. Well, now at least people here can see them.
Kind of in the background. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Klaus,
then let's do it.
Want to turn your camera on to you before you start, please?
Hang on a second. Where Phil? Yeah, Zoom is. Oh yeah, of course. That's a good point. Here it is. Yeah,
there we go. Yeah. Ooh, good.
Good. Turn on the light, please.
Oh, but I like this. That looks nice.
Yeah. Somebody decides to turn off the light in the auditorium. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to our OWASP Copenhagen meeting, where we'll be talking about backdoors and breaches and instant response and having pizza and drinks. So that's cool. This is an OWASP meeting, and OWASP is all about the community. The idea is that you should enjoy talks, be inspired, and enjoy the community and meet new people, colleagues, friends, and help each other out, because that's what the community is about, and that's what we're doing here. What now? What? Oh yeah, sorry. OWASP is a global non-for-profit charitable organization, vendor neutral, and we do free stuff. Everything we do here, chapter-wise, is free. Everybody is free to participate. Everything except OWASP events, which we don't have here in Copenhagen, at least not so far, are free. Yeah, and there's a lot of projects in the OWASP umbrella. OWASP Top 10 is probably the most known or the most well known. There's OWASP Mass, a lot of other things. as well. And there's 267 chapters in 75 countries and counting. And in Denmark, we have two. We have here in Copenhagen and in Aarhus. Aarhus are doing both physical and virtual events. We're primarily doing physical events. I want to say only physical events, but today we're virtual. So yeah, but apart from that. And you can sign up on meetup.com if you want to be notified for new events in either chapter. And yeah, that's a nice picture of all the volunteers. And if you want to be part of it as well, just let us know. And yeah, there are several ways to support your local OWASP chapter. One is to join us as volunteer and arrange meetups, offer us a talk. That's what we need right now. You can also obviously sponsor a meetup with pizza and drinks. And depending on how many people is coming, the price varies. And offer to host an event, unless of course your office is in the middle of nowhere. So then nobody wants to go. Yep. You can join us on the vsec.dk discords, scan the QR code and click the Be Enrolled assignment. And watch us on YouTube. YouTube, not much is going on there, but still. And join us on Meetup. And today's sponsor is Sampension, and my old colleague Thomas is here. He's the guy in the third last row. Yeah, and he's a nice guy, and he's hiring, and they have a very good canteen, so that's all you need to know. And yeah, and also just so you know, during the talks, I will point this camera towards the audience. It will only be streamed to Zoom, and I primarily do it so John and John can see who they're talking to. That's pretty nice when you're a speaker, especially when it's remote. And if that's a problem for you, then please take necessary precautions like covering your face or whatever. Yeah, for questions, I will pass the mic, which apparently is this mic, for questions to their talks. And the agenda is horrible, but we're supposed to start at 5. Then John will be talking about tabletop exercises. And John, the other John, and John will be doing a demo game. Then we'll be doing pizza. And after that, or during that, you're free to play Backdoors and Breaches. And if you need a game, I have a lot in the back there. And also, if you need a 20-sided dice, I have those as well. And then when we don't want to do that anymore, around 8:30, then we're all going home. And that's about it. All right. That was my part of the talk. How do we do this thing in? Oh,
While you're doing that, I'm going to start my screen share.
Good.
There we go. We're ready. Everybody, thumbs up. If you can see my screen, it should say Backdoors and Breaches.
Yeah, we can see it. I just want to change. Oh, sorry. I just want to change the video to the right. Shit.
Yeah, it's just to the right camera. While you're doing that, I'm going to keep going, Klaus, so we can get started.
Cool. Yeah.
All right.
And I'll mute my mic now.
Okay. Cool. Fantastic. I want to say thank you so much for attending. One of the things that you may be wondering is why I'm pausing more than normal. Turns out this webcast is being simultaneously translated instantaneously in Spanish by Fernando. It's not easy to translate a live session in real time. So everyone, let's give a round of applause for Fernando for even trying it. Today, I'm going to be talking about Backdoors and Breaches, an incident response tabletop game that we created at Black Hills Information Security. We created this game because traditional tabletop exercises are not fun. Many people in an organization will argue with each other about what technology would or would not work. Often, the attack scenarios are based on very poor understanding of current hacker methodologies. Or the other thing we see is people coming up with these magical unicorn attacks. Many of those magical unicorn attacks are based on what they see on TV or in the movies. And very little does it actually get to what matters for an organization for incident response. The goal of Backdoors and Breaches is to create a very simple card game where we can go through a number of scenarios very, very quickly to identify weaknesses in organizations. Also, we do it in a way that doesn't lead to a lot of discontent, anger, and fighting inside of a team. And all we had to do was use a 20-sided dice to solve problems. I think the world could use some 20-sided dice right about now to solve some issues, possibly. In the game Backdoors and Breaches, there are 3 main factors. The first main character is the incident master, based on a dungeon master in Dungeons and Dragons. This is the person that takes the cards and creates a narrative around those cards. Their goal is to drive the game forward and work through with the players to help identify weaknesses in incident response. This game also applies for our friends in OWASP because we have cloud-specific versions of this class that would be covered under web technologies in OWASP. The goal of the incident master is to keep the game going. The goal of the incident master is not to punish the players. If you ever play Dungeons and Dragons with someone who is a very bad dungeon master, it seems like they're all caught up in the rules or the minutia or actively trying to make the game miserable and adversarial for the people that are playing the game. So keep that in mind if you're ever an incident master for this game. Your goal is to help people understand what aspects of incident response may be missing for an organization. Just lost my chat window. There we go. I have my chat window open in case I'm going too fast. Fernando's going to type gibberish to me and I will know I need to slow down. The players in the game are going to work through the incident based on the story the incident master creates. I'm going to create a story with John Bevers, the traveler, and he's going to take the role of somebody playing the game with me so you can see how the game is played. There will be 4 main procedure cards and then a number of other procedure cards that are actions that John can take. Every action we do will require a roll of a 20-sided dice. We use 20-sided dice to determine the success or failure of actions, rather than arguing about whether an EDR or a firewall would successfully stop the attack. It is purely left up to chance as to whether or not that technology would be successful. Remember, we're not trying to test your technologies. We're trying to test your organization in their ability to work through an incident. If a roll is 11 or higher, then that roll was successful. If the roll is 10 or lower, it means that that action failed and the incident response people need to try a different tactic. In this game, the 4 procedure cards that are drawn will give a +3 modifier to those rolls. Those 4 cards represent what it's like for an organization to have documented procedures in working through an incident. Also, I think this is probably the only time I've ever presented where people are saying that John is speaking slow enough. I often get picked on for talking way too fast in webcasts. As I mentioned, this game has its roots in Dungeons and Dragons. The goal is to build conversations and identify what procedures can be improved in an organization. It is also to talk through how your organization would handle these issues. Once again, completing or winning the game is not the point. It's the conversations and identifying weaknesses in those procedures that is important. This is not a Monopoly style game. Not every action is scripted. The incident master has discretion about what would work and what wouldn't. It also helps to get into the roles of the characters. If you're a CISO, act like a CISO. If you're an intern, act like an intern. It adds a little spice to the game as well. This is what Backdoor and Breaches card looks like. We have a title. We have text describing the technique. For each one of the attacker cards, there are suggested detections on how that card could be detected. We say suggested detections because the incident master may use some of their discretion as to whether or not another detect could be used or whether or not they would remove a detect on this card. We also have the ability to display the tools that an organization can test their own security with as well. Finally, at the bottom, we have links where you can get additional information and learn more about this specific card. Truly, Backdoors and Breaches is designed to be an educational game for IR teams and for people that are new to computer security. When an attack is created in this game, there are 4 separate cards that build the attack methodology. The first card is Initial Attack and Compromise. This goes through how an attacker first got into the environment. The second card is Pivot and Escalate. With the Pivot and Escalate card, this shows how an attacker moves laterally in an environment and escalates their permissions in that environment. Sometimes this is referred to as lateral movement. Once again, this card has a description, detections, and example tools that you can learn this type of technique from. The third card that we use is Persistence. This is how an attacker will maintain access in an environment. The final card in the attack is Command and Control and Exfil. This describes how an attacker would maintain access internally to an organization and communicate with their malware. In this example, you can see that HTTPS is the data exfiltration. Once again, we have description, detections, and tools that can be used. The blue cards in the game are the different procedures that the defenders can use to flip over the attack cards. The defenders can use any blue card that they want. However, there will only be 4 cards that represent procedures that have documented procedures and training in an organization. those cards will get a +3 modifier on their roll. In this game, we also have random injects that change the dynamics of the game. These cards are pulled in the event that a 1 or a 20 is rolled in the game. In this example, the attackers uploaded the data to Pastebin, which is bad. This is designed to facilitate conversations on how an organization would handle that specific scenario. For example, would you contact Pastebin and have it taken down? Would this be the point that you would probably notify your customers that there has been a breach? Would you allow management to deal with this issue and with the marketing team or the advertising team? We are now going to play a game. The beautiful thing about this is a card game. Mr. Bevers has a deck of cards. He can show you the cards right there. It is a physical game that you can get in the Spearfish General Store if you want actual copies of the game. Klaus is handing some out right now. However, it is very difficult in the United States to ship this game overseas. Because of that problem, we have an online version that is the full game available for free for anybody to play. The URL is play.backdoorsandbreaches.com. I'm going to share that link in the chats. When you first come into the game, you will see that there's multiple decks available to you. Many of these decks are decks that are created for specific vendors. Right now, we have decks from Huntress, Red Canary, and Den Secure, and also Dragos. If you're just trying to play the game, you can either play with core or the core with the expansion. I recommend starting with the core or the core with the expansion to learn the fundamentals of the games, and then play the other decks with the expansions for cloud security to continue learning new techniques. The gameplay is the exact same for every single one of these decks. By opening up the deck, immediately it has created a scenario for the game that I'm about to play with John. All of the attack cards are above, and all the procedures that John can use are below. So right now I'm going to pause my screen share and I'm going to look at the incident. I'm going to take a peek at it. And then we're going to play the game. Oops. I broke something. Give me a second. All right, I'm ready. I'm going to resume share. I now have looked at the scenario, and now I'm going to play the scenario with John. So, John, it is now officially Tuesday. You're on the security team, and one of your coworkers came up and asked you how the password reset went that you asked him to do yesterday. Problem is, you never talked to him about any password reset at all. After some conversation going back and forth, you convinced him that you called him at no point yesterday, but he is absolutely convinced that you or someone claiming to be you did. By the way, if you could do me a favor, while we are playing this game, John needs help. If you could give suggestions to John in Discord and also in chat, in Zoom, he would greatly appreciate any tips that you would have for him. But John, if you got that conversation, what would be your next steps, sir?
Well, first I have one question, John. What is my role in the company?
You are the lone and only information security professional in this company.
Okay.
Just you.
And
You do all incident response, all patching, all vulnerability assessments, everything. It's all you and only you all the time.
Okay. And it was my password that I asked to be reset on this supposed call.
No, one of the employees came up and said, "Hey, dude, yesterday you called me and you wanted me to work with you to reset the password. And how did that work out for you?" But you never talked to that person yesterday, ever.
Okay. So it sounds like we definitely had a call that was not me. Where do I start here? You're muted, John. I don't hear you.
Does anybody have any recommendations for John? What type of attack does this sound like? Go ahead and type that into Discord or in the webinar chat. Fat Man Will said it kind of sounds like social engineering. Breezy, same thing.
Definitely.
So where would we want to start looking, everybody? John, what is your idea? Where should we start?
Well, my hunch is that it is an incident, but I guess we need to establish that with some actual data first. I guess I would start with user and entity behavior analytics. Is that?
That's a perfect card. Okay. Absolutely. So user entity behavioral analytics is taking the data from your SIM and putting context around it. Many people say it uses artificial intelligence. More accurately, it's using machine learning.
Should I roll, I guess?
I'm going to roll here because we have it. All right. Yeah. So are we ready, everybody? Here we go. I can click this little button here, D20. We roll. Uh-oh. You know what? It looks like my D20 is not working. Go ahead and roll, John. What did you roll?
16.
Okay, so you rolled a 16. So if we look at that roll, it has a procedure that's documented and established. So that means it gets a +3 modifier, which means it's a 19. It would have been successful no matter what. But if we look at this card, you can see it explains what UEBA is, gives you the tools, and then gives you some recommendations. So that is successful. And we can't use that card now for 3 turns. So I'm going to move the 3 marker up. And then I'm going to flip the card over. This one comes in and it says internal spear phishing. The attackers leveraged existing access to users' email to send attack emails to other targets because they come from the inside. The attack and emails tend to bypass security controls. Detection is server log analysis, SIM log analysis, user awareness training. Notice UEBA is not there. I'm the incident master. I can say if it does or does not work. It was successful, and in this situation, I'm going to say that it was successful. So now we have flipped over that there is, in fact, an incident here, right? John, we now know that there was lateral movement, but we still don't know how did they get into the environment in the first place. How do we deal with command and control, and how are they persisting in that environment?
Well, I guess I should figure out the initial compromise.
I mean, we've got a pretty good idea of what it was, right?
It's
It's
a
more than
fish.
likely it's social engineering. But what would be some tools that we could use to validate that possibly social engineering was used? Anyone want to help him out? What servers might we be able to look at the logs of? Like if you say, I called you at work yesterday at this time, what would be the server that you would look at to try to validate calls? We got Medusa XX, voice over IP logs, John. Email voice over IP. Excellent. Okay. So, John, they're recommending voice over IP logs. And it turns out, sir, that we have a catch-all card for that called server analysis.
Okay.
If in the game at any point you say, I want to look at the voice over IP server or the web server or the exchange server or any of these different servers, or if you wanted to say physical attack for cameras, you would use the server analysis card.
Good to know.
This card is the catch-all card for all of the server analysis in the game. So should we give this one a shot, sir, and see how it goes?
Yes, I'll roll. Uh-oh. I rolled a 2.
Oh my gosh. So we rolled a 2, which good news and bad news. Good news is it wasn't a 1. We didn't pull an inject. Bad news is we kind of lost that, right? So we don't have that one. But we can come back and try that again later, John. After 3 turns, we can come back to that technique a little bit later. Or maybe there's another thing that we could look at, because if somebody was using social engineering, they would have asked that coworker to do something. Maybe we can look at that thing. Like maybe they asked him to do something to the workstation. Maybe we could look at that workstation to validate that.
And
So-
and I would like to ask, why wouldn't server analysis work? Why wouldn't it?
Oh, excellent question. The reasons why server analysis don't work is sometimes the logs don't exist. An example would be recently there was the 0-day in Microsoft Cloud that hit the United States State Department. We believe the Russians were using this, or the Chinese, I believe, were using this. And Microsoft by default didn't make those logs available to be able to detect that incident. Or it might be an issue of training. Or it could also be an issue of you have the logs, but that's a lot of logs. You don't quite have the refinement to be able to ask the right questions insofar as date or time or specific event IDs. So there's a wide variety of reasons why initial log analysis may not work.
Well, my gut is telling me to run memory analysis on the system that
Okay.
that we're thinking. So let me go with that and try that as another option here, since
Go for it.
Work. And I rolled a 14.
Excellent. So memory analysis was successful. So the reason why I think looking at the memory of the system would be a good idea is because you have access to the person who did the thing. So I'm the incident master and I can make up the story to be whatever I want. So John, you sat down and did memory analysis, but you did memory analysis based on what the victim told you. While you were doing memory analysis, the victim told you that the person pretending to be you told them to download a program called totallynotevil.exe. And in running totallynotevil.exe, it would run analytics on the workstation to speed the workstation up. It would also give them an opportunity to help reset their passwords later. You needed to confirm this story with the victim. By doing the memory analysis on the system and coupling that with the narrative from the victim, you were able to see totallynotevil.exe successfully running on that computer system. Further, you were able to also see that it was executed from the Explorer process on the Windows computer system. That tells you, an incident handler, that that process was executed by the victim's account. The reason you know this is all executables don't run under the name of the person that executed them, but it's executed under the Explorer process. If anybody wants to learn more about that, I'm going to give you a link here. I have a series of intro labs that we have at Anti-Siphon Security Training. I'm going to share that link with you now. Many of these labs correlate back to backdoors and breaches. In this lab in GitHub, you can see we have a memory analysis lab. If you open the memory analysis lab, it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to do memory analysis against a VM that is a training VM for my classes. You can get that VM here, all for free. There are a number of things in backdoors and breaches that you may not know exactly how to do, but we have a number of the labs that exist. As you can see, there's a lot of labs to help people learn these different techniques, all in a free environment, because we clearly suck at capitalism at Black Hills Information Security. Let's get back to the game. So by doing memory analysis, John, you were able to confirm that the initial compromise was in fact social engineering, because you have the executable that ties up with the narrative that the victim told you they ran on that computer system. So I'm going to move these pins over like that. And I'm going to hand it back over to you, sir. We still need to figure out command and control and how the attacker persisted on that system as well.
Right. So I'm thinking, we know obviously this is an incident and it was socially engineered. There's a malicious program running on the server. I'd like to see more of what's going on with that program. I'm thinking of maybe doing, kind of thinking network threat hunting might allow me to see some interesting things.
All right, let's give it a roll.
Infected. But
go ahead.
I forgot to ask what business we're in, because I think at some point, right, I might need to escalate this to the legal team.
Absolutely. You're in the business of importing, not exporting, just imports.
Okay. So essentially, maybe it's worth keeping this system on so we can get more information. Does that sound right?
That's a great point. And you're kind of leading towards the isolation card right here. The isolation card, if John were to choose this card, would basically take the system off the network and buy the team 3 more turns. So if you need more time, this is kind of a Hail Mary to get more time to try to isolate the attack. You could do that. You absolutely could, but you're right. You aren't in any market vertical that has specific reporting requirements in the United States, like HIPAA or PCI or anything like that.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go with the threat hunting, network threat hunting.
All right. Let's go ahead and let's do network threat hunting. Now, this is using tools like Zeek and Rita and AC Hunter to be able to parse through network logs to find advanced malware in that environment. So let's go ahead and roll, John. What do we got?
I rolled a 16.
16. All right. Whenever you looked at that, it told you that the attacker was using HTTP as data exfil. And it gave you a number of tools on what would be a representation of this. And once again, we have a number of labs where you can run Rita and learn how to do Rita analysis. And it also gets you access to AC Hunter to be able to do that analytics as well. Heinz asked a question. First time I used a VM of Strand.js, the Windows VM wanted to update and then the classes were effed up. It does, you really do want to stop it from updating. You can do that, don't update it. I think Microsoft fixed the updates, so now it updates clean and it doesn't completely destroy the VM. But yeah, the VM works for probably 4 or 5 hours before it updates as well. Also, if you want, you can shoot me an email. I'm going to go ahead and put that email address in, John@blackhills john@blackhillsinfosec.com. And I have a full cloud version of the VM that you can run as well. So if you have a computer that doesn't have the specs to run a full-sized VM, you can run it in your browser as well, but you have to send me an email and I will get you hooked up. I just realized I started talking really fast. I'm sorry, Fernando. All right. So now we have flipped over the command and control. The only thing, Mr. Bevers, is persistence. How are they persisting on the system? We know the name of the malware, totallynotevil.exe, but what does that do to stay on the system? We don't know yet.
Well, I think I'm gonna go with the sim.
Okay.
Because it sounds like if they're still persisting on the network, then there's pieces that we don't understand yet on how everything's connected. So,
All right, give us a roll.
I rolled a 15.
All right, this is one of the
I'm getting lucky
fastest
today.
games, dude, we have ever played.
Good luck.
Persistence. Oh, I've got to update the red dots. Hold on. Thank you very much. Doesn't really matter, but we just ran sim log analysis and that flipped over the persistence cards. And the sim was able to identify that this particular endpoint had installed logon scripts. As soon as somebody logs into that workstation, it executed totallynotevil.exe again. And if you want to learn more about logon scripts and how those actually work, once again, we have a number of labs where you can look at Windows command line, which will walk you through steps on how to create malware on a system. Specifically to logon scripts, you can run the lab called BlueSpawn, if I can find it. Maybe it's Intro to Security right here. BlueSpawn will go through how you can run Atomic Red Team to do adversarial emulation. And that includes testing for logon scripts. So, all right, so that's it, sir. We now know that the attacker used social engineering. They then did internal spear phishing to move laterally. They used HTTP as exfil and command and control. And the logon scripts for persistence. Now, a question for everybody. Does this seem like an actual real scenario technologically that an attacker would use?
Yeah.
All right. Watch this. We can go to scenario tools and you can create a random scenario and the scenario changes completely. Now it is bring your own exploit, credential stuffing, domain fronting, and application simming. I can hit it again and it's HTTPS, HSTS, access token manipulation, Gmail, Tumblr, registry key. Or you can create your own custom scenarios where you can choose your initial compromise, you can choose your pivot, you can choose your command and control, and you can choose your persistence card. For the OWASP folks, I would strongly recommend you look at the cloud security expansion. The reason is many of these attacks tie to cloud services technologies. And these are specifically the techniques that we use to break into cloud environments. And many of these attack vectors tie to the OWASP top 10. Also, we wanted to do a quick shout out to Peter Schwacker. The reason we want to do a shout out to Peter is for our Spanish speaking friends. There is a version of Backdoors and Breaches that is all in Spanish. Hence the reason we're doing a webcast where we have live Spanish translations. I would like to open it up to questions. Klaus, what questions do we have there? And the folks that are attending virtually, go ahead and type in your questions in Discord or in chat and we will answer them. Can't hear you, Klaus.
I should probably not mute my mic when I want somebody to talk through it.
Double mute it. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, exactly. But well, if anybody has questions here in the room, I'll hand over the mic. No, it was apparently it was crystal clear, John.
I think it helps when I slow down talking.
Apparently, well, yeah, that's a pro tip. After all these years of speaking, it's as simple as that.
I don't know if anybody understands. It actually physically hurts me to talk that slow. Heinz is typing in Discord. We've got some questions. Once again, folks, Heinz and Fat Man Will are both typing. Let's get their questions in. We have a few minutes. You can see the pain in my face. Thanks, Will. Medusa and Ray are typing in questions. They're long questions, apparently. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. If you were to build a computer that could solve every problem in the entire universe to answer the life, the universe, and everything, what would that computer be?
The planet Earth.
There you go. Is there a reason why attackers sometimes choose HTTP instead of HTTPS? Wouldn't this restrict network detection opportunities for defenders? Usually when an attacker uses HTTP, they're using some form of encryption inside. So even though the protocol is clear text, the data inside would still be obfuscated. Another question, George asked, every time he was successful with the role, you had to reveal a card. Not necessarily. There are times where people may run a card that doesn't flip over a card. For example, the isolation card doesn't flip over any cards. Neither does crisis management. So there are procedures that don't flip over any cards, but they have a different impact on the game.
Well, John, what if the user or the player rolls a successful roll, but it doesn't match with any of the cards? And
it's up to the discretion of the incident master. You can say you did everything right, but it actually doesn't flip over any cards that I have. So you could totally do that as an incident master as well. Okay. We actually had been finding little benefit from isolation and had not given +3 on turns. The isolation, we got really lucky. John rolled exceptionally well. We can totally trust him with his rolls. However, there are times where people get down to the wire and they're running out of rolls. Usually the game has to be done within 10 rolls. And if you don't get it done in 10 rolls, you lose. And that isolation will get you will buy you some more time. Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Folks that were listening in Spanish, how was the translation? Can we give it thumbs up or give me an O face if it wasn't that good? Like equals bad, thumbs up if it was good. As people are trying to figure out where the reactions are. Or you can just type in good or bad. Actually, do we have reactions in Zoom?
we do. I've been seeing them the whole time, but I didn't see any to that. Okay, we got a heart.
Okay, we'll take that. I don't see emojis reactions for me.
We have another heart.
Okay.
It might be, we got some applauses as well. Now we're getting thumbs up, applauses.
Maybe I'm not getting them.
Somebody's
There we go. That's weird. I don't see
tapping
anything
my
anywhere.
something off. Thumbs up.
All right. So this is a trial run. We're planning on doing these types of webcasts, Europe and around the world in a variety of different languages. I know a lot of times Americans in America thinks that we're the center of the universe. Everyone should speak English always. And we're trying to be better than that. So and with that, we're at the end of time. I want to say thank you so much for attending today. and there will be more of this coming in the future.
All right, give it up for John Bevers and John Strand, please. Thanks for your time, John.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
see ya.
Bye.
And also John Bevers will be on the call, so that if you have any questions when you're playing yourself, he will be available to answer those questions.
Mhm.
And if you need a game, I have a ton of them there. So go ahead and take what you need, more or less.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, but
Myself muted and my camera off, so just type in a question to the Zoom chat if you've got any questions for me. I will not have the Discord open either, so this will be, I think, more geared for the OWASP folks that have the decks there. So, yep, just type in the chat if you got any questions.
yeah, can people ask using the mic as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Sure.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for your time, John.
Mm-hmm.